Hi folks, Dave with DBS Tech Talk. Today we're going to talk about a headphone that I've had for a while and am finally able to do the review on them. Vacation was thrown in there, a couple other reviews that I had to get out in a time frame, kind of push these to the side. And so we're talking about the Hifiman HE560. The Hifiman HE560 is a very unique and interesting headphone. All right, well, let's get into it. All right, so Hifiman. I've had a love-hate relationship with them in the past. Started off with the Hifiman HE350s or 35X. I can't remember exactly what they were on Mass Drop. And had them love the sound of them, and they broke within a couple weeks. Got a replacement pair, and the same issue happened. And so I then still wanted to give Hifiman a chance. Still wanted to see what their planars were all about. So I purchased the 4xx, which I actually have right here, and I absolutely love the 4xx. I believe that they are the best value for a open planar that I could recommend, under $200, and even probably pushing $300 if you're looking for an open planar. These are really good. Best value, I would say, in that price point. Anyways, we're not here to talk about the 4xx. We're here to talk about the 560s. So anyways, I gave the 4xx's. Love them. I'll put a link to them of my review down below. You can check that out. And through going to Auxpona and hearing a few friends' versions of Hifimans, other Hifimans, I really wanted to hear another Hifiman product. And I wanted to purchase one, and I came across the 560. They had been on my dream list for the longest time. Now, the version 1s were the ones that were always on my dream list with the wood veneer and all that, but they had really bad build quality issues, and it really worried me. And plus, they were $900 or more, and they were way out of my price range at the time. And so after experiencing my issues with the yokes breaking on the 350s, I wasn't sure about getting that plastic yoke again that came on the 560 version 1s. And then they kind of upgraded it on the 1.2s, and they changed from the old mini coaxials, SMCs, I think is what they call them. They changed it to 2.5 millimeters. And then they did a version 2, and the version 2 had the headband strap that was a little too small for everybody's head. So they quickly did the version 3, and that's the version that I have, is the version 3. So let's take a look at it. It's a pretty standard box. You don't get the big wooden box with the slide off tops or anything like that like you did with the original. You can still purchase that version. I'll put a link of that down below also for $900 if you are looking for the version 1.2s. But this is the version 3. Comes in a nice little box, has the specs on the back, has a Hifiman emblem on the sides, and then down on the bottom, of course, it has your labels. And I mean, it's a nice, simple box. It's about the same size as the 4xx, maybe just a little bit bigger. It does slide out nicely and slow. It's a very sturdy feeling box, so it makes for a very nice storage case. And then you get a nice little piece of foam to hold everything. And in this edition, you do get a couple different cables, and it just kind of sit in there. You do get and they're both 6 foot, and you get a 4-pin XLR cable, and they do terminate to 3.5s. So if you have any other 3.5 millimeter cables that you would like, just one word of you do need something that's a little long and a little slim. to fit in, and then you also do get a one that comes with a quarter. They fit in here nicely. They come installed with the Focus A pad. I am not a fan of the Focus A pad, so I did swap out pads, but I found that the pads that did come with, that I swapped, which are the Deconi Fenestrateds, do not change sonic. It's just comfort, and I just find the Focus A pad to be a little thin, and I don't really care for that feeling on the ears. So anyways, here is the headphones themselves. Pads are a little messed up. There we go. And very well built. You get your hard plastic cup, your little aluminum grate, and then the yokes. This is all metal, spring steel, I think it is called. Very well built, feels very sturdy, does not feel like it's going to snap, and feels like it could take a drop or two, even though I don't recommend dropping your headphones. Of course, the cups, the ear pads just pop off, and you have a little ring inside the cup or inside the pad, and you just reattach it in there and snap them in place, and quick and easy. They do not swivel much. You do get a little give and take, but other than just twisting here, you do not get anything with the cups. So if you need to really twist around your ears, these might be a little tight. It does have a somewhat clampy feel to it. It is a little tight, but it has loosened up a little bit over time. Also, where you push your yokes is a little snug. It has also loosened up with time just a little bit, but it's not something you can just put on your head and adjust. Overall comfort, as I said, they do have a slight clamp force on them. They are more comfortable with the Deconi pad. Seems to alleviate the clamp a little bit, as the Focus pad is a little thinner, but it does have a clamp to it. Overall, build wise, very good. The best built Hifiman I have held. Second to the 4xx. The comfort is debatable depending on what you prefer on your head. Both are comfortable, but this one feels a little more sturdy than the 4xx, which is also built like a tank. Heft wise, they're not too bad. I think they come in at 380 grams, so they're fairly light for planar. The cables are actually the nicest cable I've had so far on a Hifiman. No, I am limited on Hifimans, but I do have another Hifiman cable. So up here on my on the AudioQuest Nighthawks, I'm using a OFC cable, but that has 2.5 millimeters, not 3.5s, and that cable is a little bit nicer than the cable that comes stock with the 560. But this cable by and far away blows away the 4xx cable and also the 350 cable. That rubber cable is trash. So this one is a lot nicer. It's got a fabric feel to it. It is a little stiff. Takes a little bit to straighten, but you can straighten it out. And has a decent length for the splits. And they are marked L and R. And you got a nice strain relief for your 4-pin. And then it's a nice touch that they also include a single-ended version. Both cables, no complaints, no reason to exchange or to replace with a third-party cable. And I rarely ever say that about a headphone. So, all said and done, build quality, comfort is very good. Couple hours of listening time on these. Can't listen to them for hours on end because of comfort. They do, that clamp force can bother some, and it does bother me after a few hours. 5-10 minute break and I'm back to listening. So not too bad. How do they sound? Of the other Hifimans that I've heard, the 350 and the 4xx, and then various listings of others at sporadic times, the 560 has a sound that is different than the others. It doesn't seem to have quite the Hifiman house sound. It's a little bit on the neutral but musical side, and I like it a lot. It's not quite as warm as the 4xx is, or the 350. It has but it's not super analytical either. It's very close to neutral, but it's not analytical, if that makes sense. It's not that brighter, here's all your details sound that you can get sometimes with a neutral headphone. So let's start with the bass. The HE560's bass is very deep. It's flat. It's powerful, and it's balanced. But it has control and impact, and it balances the control and the impact very well. I mean, it's not too much in one area or too much in the other. Neither one of those control or impact sounds out of place. It has just enough of everything, and it reaches nice and deep, goes into the sub bass regions, has good mid bass impact, but it doesn't have a hump. There's no lift in the middle bass and upper bass. It's very linear. It's very flat across, but you get exactly what the recording has to offer when it comes to the bass, and it has a nice impact to it, but also you get all the details, and you have nice control. You have really good resolution, very good decay in the bass. It's a very nice sounding bass. If you're a bass head that likes clean and natural sounding bass, these would be a good headphone for you. If you like a bass to be a thumpy and kind of woolly and real big impacts, this probably wouldn't be the headphone for you. If you like your bass to be very smooth and clean and out of the picture, these may be a little too much impact for you. These have just enough of a thump and a kick to give that fun factor and that musicality, but it has enough, more than enough actually, of the details and the clarity in the bass to be accurate and true. Really like the bass on these. Probably the best bass that I've heard on a headphone as far as overall clarity, cleanness, control, but yet impact and fun factor. The mids, they're clear, they're clean, they don't have any graininess, they're for very natural sounding, they have really good timbre in them, but they're slightly recessed and they're slightly dry. They lack a little bit of full bodiness to them, and it's not super noticeable, but it's noticeable compared to others, and especially like the 4xx and the 350. The mids are very warm and romantic and a little more noticed and a little more hearty. These are a little, at times can sound a little thin and a slight recess. And we're not talking cavernous recess. We're not talking a huge step back, but they are a little recessed and a little dry. They could use a little bit more to them. They do not get any bleed from the bass or bleed into the treble. They're very clean and very, very clear, but it's just a little bit on the boring side. Treble. Effortless and smooth. And there's only one other headphone that I've ever used with the word effortless, and that's the HD600. And these have a similarity to that. They're very refined, but they also have a good sparkle to them. And so it's they're not harsh, they're not sibilant, they're not shouty. They could be considered bright for treble sensitive people, but they're not bright for me. It's a brighter sounding headphone, but it's not what I would consider bright, if that makes sense. It's not HD 700. It's not grotto bright. It's more HD 600 sound. It's a laid back, smooth, but with energy. Has that little sparkle. It has just enough of that little kiss to give you the air and the clarity and the detail. But it's not shouting it in your ears, and it's not giving you those moments of fatigue. This is a very effortless and smooth and just gushing treble. I really like the treble on this. But again, some may say it's too bright if you are sensitive to treble. Soundstage and imaging. The soundstage on these is decent. It's okay. It's not full cal Elex or M1060, way out there. But it does extend farther than your shoulders. Goes a little bit. You can get some good depth out there. Where these excel is in the imaging. It's pinpoint. It's very, very accurate. And it has really good airiness to it, and a very good separation. And you can pinpoint and place, whether it's up here, down here, over here, at an angle. You can get the transitions straight across from one side to the other, and it just travels right across, and you can feel like you're following it across the stage. But it's not super wide. It doesn't sound like it's traveling from the other room across. You still get that kind of envelope effect, so to speak, but it's not intimate and like closed in. It does have some width to it. It's just not the widest out there, but it's pretty decent. The Hifiman HE560. This is actually a headphone that I'd been looking forward to for a long time and anticipating, and I was like, man, if I get them, are they going to be what I really think they're going to be? And yes, they are exactly what I thought they were going to be. And I am truly in love with my Hifiman HE560. Every time that I step away from them to doing a review, to go out of town for a little while, and they didn't come with me and I didn't get to hear them, I'm disappointed. And I'm really looking forward to hearing them when I get back. How do they pair with other gear? Well, right now I'm a little limited on my gear, as I have my Liquid Carbon X in for warranty repair, and my AU X7S is out on loan, but we will still explain. The only amps that really power this is a power-hungry headphone, are the THX AAA 788 and my Liquid Carbon X and the X7S. The CTH does a decent job, depending on what DAC I have using it. Out of the Geshelli into the CTH, you get plenty of power. You have a nice sound in the bass and in the mids and in treble, but you can tell that it's just lacking a little bit of dynamics. It's not quite getting enough power. Out of the Liquid Carbon X, when I had that here, I had it coming out of the Geshelli and balanced. And in balanced mode, the Liquid Carbon X had plenty of power to push the HE560. And the 560 on the Liquid Carbon X had, with the Geshelli as the source, was just incredible sounding. You got really good, nice dynamics, a very nice wide open stage. You had good separation and good air. And the bass had really nice impact and thump to it. And the mids had a little bit more life to them. They were still dry, but they did get a little bit of a oomph to it and a little bit more full bodiness. And then treble was a little more mellowed out. And the reason being for that is Liquid Carbon X does have a slight warmer tone to it. And so for these, because they're a little bit on the leaning towards the brighter side of a signature, this kind of mellowed, that Liquid Carbon X kind of mellowed HE560 out just a little bit. It actually was a very, very nice sound to them. I really enjoyed that on the Liquid Carbon X and the Geshelli. The THX AAA 788 is my favorite amp with the 560. You get just enough of that analytical, clean sound to it. You get that little bit of a kiss of, here you go, here's your sparkle, here's your clarity, here's your details, and they're just presented out on like this table, and you can just see them all and just hear them all. This is amazing. And you still get the thump and the impact on the bass. The mids do still show that a little bit of recessed dryness to them, but it's not boring in any way. It still has a musical flavor to it, but sometimes you just want a little bit more body. And then that treble is just the cleanness and the clarity and the details come through, added in with that soundstage and the imaging and the detail. The 788 is a really, really nice mix, combination with the 560. The X7S had enough power to drive them, but just like the CTH, it did lack a little bit of dynamics, and it didn't have just didn't have enough girth really to push them to their full potential. So overall, the Hifiman HE560 is a neutral but musical sounding headphone. It has controlled clarity. It's a smoothness with a slight dryness in the mids. It's not a forward mid-range, but it has good energy and sparkle up top, with a clarity and airiness in the soundstage and in the imaging. HE560. My long time dream headphone has finally come to fruition, and it's met all my expectations and exceeded them, and it's going to be staying with me for a long time. This has been Dave with DBS Tech Talk. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video.